I pulled into the driveway around 6:30, tired from a long shift at the warehouse. The porch light was on, which was normal, but what caught my attention was the smell coming from inside. Garlic, herbs, something cooking that wasn't our usual Tuesday night routine. I walked in and found her in the kitchen wearing the dress she usually saved for special occasions. Her hair was done up, makeup perfect, and she was humming while stirring something on the stove. "Hey," I said, dropping my keys on the counter. "What's all this?" She turned with this bright smile. "Oh, I invited someone from work for dinner. He's been helping me with that big project, and I thought it would be nice to have him over, you know, as a thank you." I paused. We never did this. In 5 years of marriage, we'd maybe had coworkers over twice, and both times it was planned weeks ahead. Tonight? You didn't mention anything this morning. I know. It was last minute, but you're always saying I should be more social with my team, right? Build those connections. That wasn't exactly what I'd said, but I let it slide. All right. When's he getting here? Around 7 o'clock. You have time to shower if you want. I did want. I went upstairs, changed into clean clothes, and came back down just as the doorbell rang. She practically sprinted to answer it. The guy who walked in was tall, athletic build, expensive watch, hair styled like he'd just left the salon. He handed her a bottle of wine with this easy confidence that immediately set off alarm bells in my head. "Thanks so much for having me," he said, then looked at me. "You must be the husband." "I'm Nathan." "Nice to meet you," I said, shaking his hand. Firm grip, direct eye contact, the whole package. "Brendan," he said smoothly. We sat down at the table, and that's when things got weird. They immediately fell into this rhythm, finishing each other's sentences, laughing at inside jokes I wasn't part of. Every story started with, "Remember when," or, "That time at the office when." "So Brendan," I said, cutting into my chicken. "What department are you in?" "Marketing," he said smoothly. "We've been collaborating on the spring campaign. My wife, Claire, worked in sales. Different floor, different meetings, different everything. They weren't exactly desk neighbors." The dinner continued and I watched them. The way she leaned in when he talked. How his hand would casually brush near hers when reaching for the bread. The little glances they shared when they thought I wasn't paying attention. Then came the moment that sealed it. Brendan was telling some story about a client meeting and they were both laughing, completely in their own world. She put her hand on his arm, looked at me with this smirk and said, "I think we're making my husband jealous." They both laughed like it was funny, like I was the joke. I put down my fork, didn't say anything, just wiped my mouth with the napkin, stood up, and walked away from the table. "Where are you going?" she called after me, but I didn't answer. I went upstairs to our bedroom, closed the door, and sat on the edge of the bed. My phone was in my hand, and I was already thinking about what came next. Not in anger, not in panic, just cold, clear calculation. Downstairs, I could hear them still talking. Their voices lower now, confused. Let them be confused. I wasn't going to yell, wasn't going to make a scene, wasn't going to do anything they expected. But I also wasn't going to forget this. I pulled up my contacts and started making a list of people I needed to call tomorrow. Starting with a buddy who worked in IT security and ending with a lawyer I'd heard good things about from a coworker. This dinner was over, but the game had just started. And they had no idea what they'd just set in motion. The next morning, I woke up before her alarm went off. She was still asleep, face peaceful like nothing had happened. I got dressed quietly and headed downstairs to make coffee. When she finally came down, she was cautious, testing the waters. "About last night," she started. "I think you overreacted a bit. Brendan is just a colleague. We were having fun." I poured my coffee, took a sip. "Okay." She blinked. "Okay. That's it. What do you want me to say?" "You invited someone over. You had a good time. I'm not going to fight about it." She looked almost disappointed that I wasn't engaging. "Well, good, because it was nothing. You're being paranoid." I nodded, grabbed my lunch from the fridge, and headed out the door. Let her think she won. At work, I made my first call during lunch break. My buddy Marcus worked in network security at a tech firm downtown. We'd gone to high school together, stayed in touch over the years. I need a favor, I told him. Nothing illegal. Just need to recover some deleted messages from a phone backup. Whose phone? Mine. Joint account with my wife. I pay the bill. Everything's under my name. He was quiet for a second. Man, I'm sorry. Yeah, I can help you with that. Bring me the account info. That afternoon, I stopped by his place. He pulled up the cloud backup, ran some recovery software, and within 20 minutes, I was looking at 3 months of deleted text conversations. Claire to Brendan, he's working late again tonight. Want to grab drinks? Brendan to Claire, always. Same place. Claire to Brendan, can't wait to see you. Wear that cologne I like. The messages went on, dozens of them. Meeting up after work, lunch dates she never mentioned, late night texts that made my stomach turn. But here's what caught my attention. Brendan kept mentioning getting home to check on things, and my situation at home is complicated right now. He was being vague on purpose. The next day, I took a different approach. I drove to her office building during my lunch break and parked across the street. Sure enough, at noon, she walked out with Brendan. They went to a coffee shop 2 blocks away, sat close in a corner booth, her hand on his across the table. I took photos. Not for drama, just documentation. Then I did what I should have done from the start. I looked him up properly. LinkedIn, Facebook, public records. Brendan Mitchell, 34 years old, marketing director. And there it was, buried in his privacy settings, but visible if you knew where to look. Married to Diane Mitchell. Her profile was more public. Recent posts about preparing the nursery, complaining about back pain, countdowns to the due date. She was 7 months pregnant. I sat in my truck staring at her profile picture. She looked happy, glowing, completely unaware that her husband was spending his lunch breaks holding hands with my wife. That evening, I came home to find Claire on the couch, scrolling through her phone with a guilty expression that vanished the second she saw me. Hey, how was work? Fine, I said. You busy tomorrow? So busy, she stretched, yawned dramatically. I might need to stay late tomorrow. Big presentation coming up with Brendan. She froze for half a second. Yeah, and the whole team. It's a group thing. I nodded. Want me to pick up dinner for you since you'll be working late? That's sweet, but no. We'll probably just order something to the office. The lies were piling up and she wasn't even trying hard anymore. She thought I was stupid. Thought I'd just accept whatever story she fed me. I went upstairs and opened my laptop. I found Diane Mitchell's email through her small business website. She ran a photography studio from home, specialized in family portraits and maternity shoots. I stared at the blank email draft for 10 minutes, choosing my words carefully. This had to be done right. Mrs. Mitchell, you don't know me, but I believe we have something important to discuss regarding our spouses. I have information you deserve to know. If you're willing to talk, please respond to this email. I understand this is shocking and I'm not looking to cause pain. I'm looking for the truth. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. Downstairs, Claire laughed at something on her phone. Probably another message from Brendan. Another inside joke. Another plan to meet up behind our backs. She had no idea what was coming. Neither did he. I just needed Diane to respond. And then we'd see how funny they thought this whole situation was. Diane responded within 4 hours. Who is this? What are you talking about? If this is some kind of joke, it's not funny. I wrote back immediately. Not a joke. My name is Nathan. I'm married to a woman who works with your husband. They had dinner at my house 3 nights ago, and I've since discovered they've been meeting regularly. I have text messages, photos, timestamps. I'm not trying to hurt you, but you deserve to know what's happening. I attached 3 screenshots. Nothing explicit, but enough to show the pattern, the lunch dates, the after-work meetings, the deleted messages I'd recovered. My phone rang 20 minutes later. Unknown number. Hello. This is Diane Mitchell. Her voice was shaky but controlled. I need you to tell me everything. We talked for over an hour. I laid it out chronologically, showed her what I'd found, explained the dinner situation. She listened without interrupting, and I could hear her breathing change as the pieces fell into place. He's been coming home late, she finally said. Always has an excuse. Client dinners, team building events, extra projects. I'm 7 months pregnant, exhausted all the time, and he's barely home. When he is, he's on his phone constantly. I found deleted messages going back 3 months, I told her. Maybe longer, but that's as far as the backup goes. 3 months. She let out a bitter laugh. I've been planning a nursery while he's been doing this. I painted the walls myself last week because he said he was too busy with work. I'm sorry. I know this isn't easy to hear. Don't apologize. You're the only one being honest with me. She paused. What are you planning to do? That was the question. I'd been thinking about it nonstop since that dinner. I want to confront them, I said, but not like they'd expect. They think they're being clever, sneaking around, making fools out of both of us. I want them to face what they've done together, in front of each other. How? Another dinner. My wife thinks I'm clueless. If I suggest having Brendan over again, act like I'm trying to be social, she'll jump at the chance. She'll think she won. And I show up. Diane's voice had changed. Harder now. Focused. Uninvited. Exactly. With proof of your own, marriage certificate, photos, medical records showing your due date. We document everything, record the whole conversation. Then we both know exactly what we're dealing with and they can't lie their way out of it. She was quiet for a long moment. When? This weekend. Saturday night. I'll tell my wife tomorrow. Give her time to set it up with Brendan. Can you make it? Oh, I'll be there. There was steel in her voice now. And I'm bringing copies of our joint bank statements. If he's been spending money on her, I want to know about it. We exchanged numbers and started coordinating. She'd park down the street, wait for my text when Brendan arrived, then give it 10 minutes before showing up. Enough time for them to get comfortable, let their guard down. One more thing, Diane said before we hung up. I contacted a lawyer this afternoon, right after I got your email. Just a consultation. She said I should document everything, especially if there's been any financial dishonesty. I did the same yesterday. Talked to someone my coworker recommended. We're really doing this. Yeah, we are. That night, Claire came home late again, almost 9 o'clock. Makeup slightly smudged, hair a bit messy, that guilty satisfaction on her face that she tried to hide. How was the presentation? I asked from the couch. Exhausting. We ordered pizza, worked through dinner. She kicked off her heels. I'm going to take a shower. Before you do, I said casually, I was thinking that dinner with Brendan didn't go great because I wasn't in the right headspace. Work stress. You know how it is. Maybe we should try again this weekend. I'll actually make an effort this time. She stopped halfway to the stairs. Turned slowly. You want to have him over again? Why not? If he's important to your career, I should support that. I was rude last time. Let me make it right. I could see her mind working. Trying to figure out if this was a trap. But her ego won. She thought she'd broken me. Made me accept the situation. That's really mature of you, she said with a smile. I'll text him tomorrow. Great. Saturday night works for me. Perfect. She went upstairs and I heard the shower start. I pulled out my phone and texted Diane. It's set. Saturday at 7 o'clock. I'll send you the address. Her response came back fast. I'll be ready. And thank you for telling me the truth. We deserve better than this. Yes, we do. I put my phone away and stared at the ceiling. 3 more days until Saturday. 3 more days of pretending everything was fine while I prepared for the moment when their whole act would come crashing down. They wanted to play games. They wanted to sneak around, lie to our faces, treat us like we were too stupid to notice. Saturday night, they'd learn exactly how wrong they were. Thursday afternoon, Claire confirmed everything. Brendan was coming Saturday at 7 o'clock and she was already planning the menu like this was some kind of celebration. "I'm thinking salmon," she said, scrolling through recipes on her tablet. "And that wine he brought last time was amazing. Maybe I'll grab another bottle." "Sounds good," I said, not looking up from my laptop. She was practically glowing. Thought she'd managed to train me into acceptance. Poor thing had no idea what Saturday actually looked like. Friday morning, I met with the lawyer. His name was Mr. Harrison, mid-50s, no-nonsense type who'd seen this story 1,000 times before. "You're doing the right thing, documenting everything," he said, reviewing the screenshots and timeline I'd put together. "Virginia is a no-fault state, but evidence of infidelity can still impact things like spousal support and asset division. I want this clean, fast, no dragging it out for months. With what you have here, we can move quickly. Just make sure tomorrow night stays civil. Don't threaten anyone. Don't get physical. Don't do anything that could be used against you later." "I'm not planning to." "Good. Record everything if you can. Virginia is a one-party consent state for recording, so as long as you're part of the conversation, it's legal." I'd already ordered 2 small voice recorders online. Overnight shipping. They arrived Friday afternoon. Tiny things that could fit in a shirt pocket. That evening, Diane called. "I talked to my lawyer again today. She said she wants me to get documentation of any shared accounts, any recent unusual purchases." I went through our credit card statements from the past 3 months. "Find anything?" "Jewelry store charge for $600. When I asked him about it last month, he said it was for his mother's birthday. His mother's birthday is in February. This charge was in April." I felt my jaw tighten. He bought her a gift. Apparently. And there's a hotel charge from 2 weeks ago. He told me he was at a conference in Richmond. I called the hotel. They have no record of any corporate event that weekend. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. I'd rather know now than after the baby comes." She paused. "I'm bringing all of it tomorrow. Every statement, every lie, every receipt. He's going to explain all of it in front of everyone. Are you sure you're up for this? I know it's a lot, especially with. I'm 7 months pregnant, not fragile. And I'm done being lied to." Her voice was firm. "What time should I get there?" 7:15, that gives them enough time to settle in, get comfortable. "I'll text you when he arrives. I'll be parked around the corner." Diane. "Yeah. Thank you for doing this. For giving me the chance to confront them face to face. A lot of people would have just handled their own situation and left me in the dark. Nobody deserves to be lied to like this. We're in this together." Saturday morning arrived. Claire was up early cleaning the house, checking everything twice. She'd gotten her hair done Friday afternoon, bought a new dress, the whole production. "You're really going all out," I commented, watching her arrange flowers in a vase. "I want everything to be perfect. First impressions matter, you know." First impressions. Like Brendan hadn't already been here. Like this was all innocent. "Need any help?" "No, I've got it. Just be ready by 6:30, okay? And please try to be engaging tonight. Ask him about his work, his hobbies, anything. Just make an effort." "I will." She smiled, kissed my cheek, and went back to her preparations. I went upstairs and tested both voice recorders. Crystal clear audio. I put one in my shirt pocket, hid the other on the bookshelf in the dining room, angled toward where they'd be sitting. At 6 o'clock, I texted Diane. "Still good for tonight?" "On my way. Parked 2 streets over. Just waiting for your signal." At 6:50, I heard a car pull up outside. Brendan was early. Claire practically ran to the door, checked her reflection one more time, then opened it with a bright smile. "You made it. Come in, come in." He had flowers this time. Handed them to her like he was courting her properly. She giggled, actually giggled, and went to find another vase. I walked into the living room. Brendan, good to see you again. Thanks for having me back, he said, shaking my hand. I hope last week wasn't too awkward. Water under the bridge. I gestured toward the couch. Make yourself comfortable. Can I get you a drink? Beer would be great. I went to the kitchen, pulled 2 beers from the fridge, and sent the text to Diane. He's here. Her response was immediate. 15 minutes. I handed Brendan his beer, sat across from him. Claire joined us, sitting next to Brendan on the couch, just a bit too close to be casual. So, Nathan, Brendan said, your wife tells me you work in logistics. Warehouse management. Nothing glamorous. Honest work though. I respect that. He took a sip of his beer. Must be tough. All those long hours. It is. But someone's got to do it. I checked my watch. 7:10, you know what's tough? Being married. Takes real commitment. Real honesty. Claire's smile faltered slightly. Of course it does. How long have you been married, Brendan? The question landed like I'd intended. His expression flickered. That's kind of personal. Is it? I mean, we're all friends here. Just making conversation. I looked at Brendan. You are married, right? He opened his mouth, closed it, then said, it's complicated. Complicated how? Before he could answer, the doorbell rang. Perfect timing. I'll get it, I said, standing up. Probably just a neighbor. I walked to the door, took a breath, and opened it. Diane stood there, 7 months pregnant, wearing a maternity dress, her face set in determination. Hi, honey, I said loud enough for them to hear. Come on in. I stepped aside and Diane walked past me into the living room. Brendan's face went from confused to pale in about 2 seconds. Claire looked between them, trying to understand what was happening. Everyone, I said calmly, I'd like you to meet Diane, Brendan's wife. The silence that followed was absolutely perfect. Brendan shot to his feet so fast he knocked over his beer. It spilled across the coffee table, but nobody moved to clean it up. Diane, what are you doing here? Funny, I was going to ask you the same question. She walked further into the room, one hand on her pregnant belly. Actually, I know exactly why you're here. I just want to hear you explain it. Claire finally found her voice. I don't understand. Brendan, you said you weren't. Weren't what? Diane turned to her. Weren't married. Weren't expecting a baby. Weren't lying to both of us for months. This is insane, Brendan said, his voice rising. You can't just show up like this. We can talk about this at home. No. Diane's voice was steady. We're talking about it right here, right now, in front of everyone involved. I moved to stand next to Diane. Have a seat, Brendan. Unless you'd rather keep standing while your pregnant wife sits. He looked between us, trapped, then slowly sat back down. Claire was frozen on the couch, her face cycling through confusion, panic, and realization. Let me walk you through what I know, I said, pulling out my phone. 3 months of deleted text messages between you two. Lunch dates, happy hours, late-night conversations. I scrolled through the screenshots. Here's a good one. April 18th, can't wait to see you. Wear that cologne I like. Want to explain that one? Claire's hands were shaking. Nathan, I can explain. Not yet. I want to hear from Brendan first. I looked at him. $600 jewelry purchase in April. Your mother's birthday gift, right? Except your mother's birthday is in February. Diane pulled papers from her bag. Here's the credit card statement. And here's the hotel charge from Richmond 2 weeks ago. The hotel you supposedly stayed at for a conference that never happened. You went through my accounts. Brendan's face flushed red. That's a violation of privacy. They're joint accounts. Diane shot back. My name is on them too. Unlike apparently everything else in your life, which you've been keeping secret. Claire stood up suddenly. I think you all need to leave. This is my house and I don't have to listen to this. Actually, I said calmly, it's our house. And you're going to sit down and face what you've done. We didn't do anything wrong, she said, but her voice cracked. Brendan and I are just friends. You're making this into something it's not. Friends. Diane's laugh was bitter. Is that what you call someone who texts your husband at midnight? Someone he buys jewelry for? Someone he lies about meeting? Brendan ran his hands through his hair. Diane, please. Can we just go home and talk about this privately? Why? So you can spin more lies. Make up more excuses. She sat down heavily in the armchair, exhausted. I've been home alone, painting a nursery, preparing for our first child while you've been here playing house with her. Do you know how many nights I called you worried and you didn't pick up? I was working. Don't. I cut him off. I followed you Tuesday. Coffee shop on Elm Street. Saw you holding hands across the table. Took photos if you need a reminder. Claire's face went white. You followed us. I verified what I already knew. You're both liars. This is ridiculous, Brendan said, standing again. I don't have to sit here and be accused. Sit down. Diane's voice cracked like a whip. You owe me that much. You owe me an explanation for why you've been destroying our marriage while I'm carrying your child. He sat. The fight went out of him all at once. I didn't mean for it to happen. That's your explanation. Diane's eyes filled with tears. You didn't mean for it to happen. You made a choice. Every text, every meeting, every lie, those were all choices. Claire finally broke. It wasn't supposed to be like this. We just connected and it felt good to have someone understand me. I understand you, I said quietly. I've been married to you for 5 years. But understanding you apparently isn't enough when someone more exciting comes along. That's not fair. Fair. I almost laughed. You invited him into our home. Made a joke about making me jealous. Treated me like I was stupid for noticing what was right in front of my face. And now you're talking to me about fair. Brendan looked at Diane. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did. You are. She wiped her eyes. I'm 7 months pregnant, Brendan. 7 months. And instead of being excited about becoming a father, you've been sneaking around with her. What were you planning to do when the baby came? Keep lying. Keep both of us in the dark. He didn't answer. Couldn't answer. Here's what's going to happen, I said. Tomorrow morning, I'm filing for divorce. My lawyer already has all the documentation, text messages, photos, timeline of events. It's all recorded, all documented. You can't do this, Claire whispered. I already did. This marriage is over. You made that choice when you decided someone else was more important than your vows. Diane stood up slowly. I'm leaving. Brendan, you can come home tonight to pack your things, or you can stay here with her. Either way, we're done. My lawyer will be in touch Monday morning. Diane, wait, Brendan reached for her, but she stepped back. Don't touch me. Don't call me. Don't come near me unless it's to sign divorce papers or arrange custody. She looked at Claire. I hope he was worth it. I hope those lunch dates and secret texts were worth destroying 2 marriages and breaking apart a family before it even started. She walked to the door and I followed. You need help getting home. I'll be fine. Thank you, Nathan, for everything. Take care of yourself and the baby. She nodded and left. I turned back to the living room. Brendan was standing now, looking lost. Claire was crying, mascara running down her face. You should probably go, Brendan, I said. Your wife just left. Might want to catch up before she changes the locks. He grabbed his jacket, looked at Claire one last time, and walked out without another word. It was just the 2 of us now. She looked at me with desperate eyes. Nathan, please. We can work through this. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. No. The word was final. We can't. This isn't something you fix. This is something you live with. But I love you. You love the security I provided. You loved having someone to come home to when your affair partner had to go back to his pregnant wife. That's not love. That's convenience. She collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. I went upstairs, grabbed the bag I'd already packed, and came back down. I'm staying at a hotel tonight. Don't call me. Don't text me. My lawyer will handle everything from here. Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? I don't know. Maybe ask Brendan. You two seem to have plenty of plans before tonight. I walked out of the house, got in my truck, and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I could see her standing in the doorway, watching me leave. I didn't look back. Monday morning, Mr. Harrison filed the divorce papers. By noon, Claire had been served at her office. She called 17 times that day. I didn't answer once. Tuesday, Diane called me. Brendan moved out yesterday. Took his clothes and his laptop. Left everything else. He's staying with a friend, apparently. How are you holding up? Better than I expected. My lawyer says the recordings and documentation we have make this straightforward. He can't claim anything was innocent when we have him on tape admitting it all. Good. You deserve a clean break. So do you. She paused. I reported everything to their company's HR department this morning. Sent them copies of the text messages, the timeline, everything. They take workplace relationships seriously, especially when they involve deception and affect productivity. I hadn't thought about that angle. What did they say? They're launching an internal investigation. Apparently, Brendan's direct supervisor had no idea he was spending company time on personal meetings. And your wife violated policy by not disclosing a relationship with someone she collaborates with professionally. Consequences. Exactly. My lawyer said it strengthens my case too. Shows a pattern of dishonesty that extends beyond just our marriage. Wednesday, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Claire using a friend's phone since I'd blocked her. Please talk to me. I made a mistake. I'll do anything to fix this. I deleted it. Thursday, Mr. Harrison called with an update. She wants to negotiate. Says she'll agree to everything if you'll just talk to her. Everything. Clean split. No spousal support request. She keeps her car, you keep yours. House goes on the market, proceeds split 50/50ths. She even agreed to cover her own legal fees. Why the sudden cooperation? My guess. Her lawyer explained how bad this looks. The evidence you have, the recordings, the witness testimony from Brendan's wife. If this goes to court, it's not going to be pretty for her. She's cutting her losses. Accept it. I want this done. I'll draw up the papers. Friday afternoon, I got a call from Marcus, my IT buddy. You didn't hear this from me, but word at her company is that both of them got written up. Formal reprimands in their files. They're being moved to different departments. No more working together on projects. That's it. Just a reprimand. For now. But HR is watching them closely. Any more violations, any hint of continued contact, and they're both gone. In this job market, they can't risk it. Good. 2 weeks later, the divorce was final. Fastest I'd ever heard of. But when both sides agree on everything, the system moves quick. I signed the papers in Mr. Harrison's office, walked out, and felt lighter than I had in months. The house sold within a week. Turns out, our neighborhood was in demand. After the split, I had enough for a solid down payment on a smaller place closer to work. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. Clean slate, no memories attached. I ran into Diane at the courthouse one afternoon. She was there filing her own divorce paperwork. Due date now just 6 weeks away. How are you feeling? I asked. Physically. Exhausted. Emotionally. Free. She smiled. Brendan's lawyer tried to argue for shared custody, but my lawyer shut that down fast. He can have supervised visitation once the baby's born, but that's it. He doesn't get to play happy family after what he did. You're going to be a great mother. Thanks. And Nathan, you're going to be fine too. Better than fine. I know. We went our separate ways. Two people who'd been strangers a month ago, brought together by betrayal, now moving forward separately but stronger. 3 months after everything went down, I was having lunch at a diner near work when my phone buzzed. Email from an address I didn't recognize. The subject line said, "Thank you." It was from Diane. Baby arrived yesterday. Healthy girl, 8 pounds. Brendan showed up at the hospital demanding to see her. Security escorted him out. My lawyer sent him photos and visiting arrangements. Supervised only, just like the agreement stated. Wanted you to know that standing up for myself, for both of us, was the right choice. Hope you're doing well. Stay strong. I wrote back. Congratulations. She's lucky to have you. And yeah, we made the right choice. Take care of yourself. I put my phone away and finished my lunch. Thought about how different my life looked now compared to 6 months ago. No more walking on eggshells. No more wondering where my wife was or who she was with. No more lies. Just peace. Clean, simple peace. A few guys from work had been trying to get me to join their bowling league. I'd always said no. Too busy, too tired. That afternoon, I texted them back. Count me in. Life didn't end when that marriage did. It started over. Better this time. Honest this time. I drove home that evening, pulled into the driveway of my new place, and sat there for a minute. Thought about everything that had happened. The dinner that started it all. The investigation. Meeting Diane. The confrontation. The divorce. It all led here. To a quiet house that was actually quiet, not tense. To a life that was mine again. Not shared with someone who didn't respect it. I got out of the truck, unlocked the front door, and stepped inside. No drama waiting. No lies to uncover. Just a regular evening in a regular house. And that was exactly what I needed. Brendan and Claire made their choices. They chose deception over honesty, excitement over commitment, selfish desires over the people who trusted them. And they both paid for it. Lost their marriages, damaged their careers, destroyed their reputations. Meanwhile, I was here. Starting fresh. Moving forward. Living proof that you don't have to tolerate disrespect. You don't have to accept betrayal. You can walk away with your dignity intact. And that's exactly what I did.